Ahoy! This is the second episode of my solo dungeon farming series. If you missed the first one about the easiest dungeons, check the description of the video for a link to it. This episode is about somewhat harder dungeons that I've taken to calling medium, referring to the difficulty. Let's not waste any more time and begin. The first one is Volcanic Citadel. It's also a pretty fast dungeon that people like farming for upgrade cores and fast DP. There aren't any special drops, just the usual stuff. Upgrade and force cores of high grade, slot extenders medium at high, bikes and osmium stuff. I must note that I've finished well over 500 runs of this dungeon, and I've never seen a single extender or bike. The greatest disadvantage, I believe, is the price of the entry item. You don't get free entries in mail either. Also, there's no special drop in there, as I've mentioned. As for the advantages, it's fast and it's easy to learn. The results after 3 runs. After extracting everything, I'm left with some cores and a whole stack of osmium material cores. Well, there's some profit in it after all. Let's move on to Tower of the Dead B2F. I know you hate that dungeon, it's rather boring, I agree. However, since the last update, the time it takes to finish a run is almost halved. You can finish one in less than 7 minutes easily if you skip the trolls. You can find the upgrade and force cores of high grade, extenders medium and high, bikes, and above all, the material for crafting Killian's ring. It's also worth noting that the level 3 discs are dropped in stacks of 10. The greatest disadvantages are that the quests are rather hard to learn and the 2 gates are tricky to pass. I can no longer list the long waiting time as a disadvantage because you no longer have to wait at all. Therefore, the advantage is that it's pretty fast if you know what you're doing, and it's awesome for event items farming because of the number of monsters. After 3 runs where I've skipped the bonus bosses, I've got a bunch of upgrade cores and actually found an item with 7% amp, and a stack of thunder discs. The ring materials aren't uncommon either, but I have none of them now. Next up, a classic dungeon that is probably the most popular, Illusion Castle Underworld. It's a common dungeon at the levels between 120 and 150 because of the amazing XP gain and the realistic chance for good drops. Lichenous weapons are also attractive for new players, but later on they become worthless. Other than that, you can get cores and extenders of high and highest grade, rings of luck and critical rings +2, bikes, and red osmium grade items with amp or critical damage can actually be worth some alls. An advantage is that you pretty much have to do no quests at all. Also, the entry is practically free because you get 3 of them in mail, and the instructor in Bloody Eyes can also give you one. However, you do have to run a lot, and to solo it fast enough you need a decent set. After 2 runs, I ended up with a decent amount of cores, and as it happens I found a few outrageous items as well. Well, one of them is a helm, so it doesn't count. Altar of Siena B1F. People mainly farm that for the bracelets, or to be more precise, to extract the bracelets for the pieces that are required to craft Siena's bracelets. However, keep in mind that the chests in here don't drop force cores. This is a huge advantage. It's also a nice source of red osmium grade items, slot extenders, bikes and runes. On the other hand, you have to learn the quests, which aren't that hard in my opinion, but you need a decent set to effectively solo this dungeon. I did 2 runs in the end. I wanted 3, but I was afraid of slipping through the 20 minutes mark, so I stopped. The results aren't too impressive, but I did find a bracelet at least. Well, those were the dungeons that I considered worthy of farming in the tier of medium difficulty. See you soon in the 3rd episode about even harder dungeons. If you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it or subscribing to my channel. Ahoy!